hello. Hola, everybody, and welcome to this not so surprise. I kept teasing it the whole day today. This surprise interview with my good amigo Noel Wurst, or I was learning like Christmas sausage or something like that
Right.
from a story. We won't repeat that. But welcome, amigo. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I really am. It's awesome to be back here again with you. I think it's been 2 years, but it feels a lot longer because
I,
we've done a lot of these over the years. It's a tradition now.
Yeah, I haven't seen our amigo actually like in 2 years. I was very surprised when walking around the Star conference. Like, I know you.
Yep.
What are you doing?
Yep.
Well, I'm happy that you're here. And
There's always a handful of folks that it's just so good to reconnect with again. It's always a Star West for sure.
this is a great thing that on these conferences you're going to have the opportunity to learn and grow and networking, blah, 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 but to get in touch with old friends that you haven't seen in a while. If you keep coming back, well, you notice when someone is not coming that year or that Star conference because there are quite a few. But I'm really happy that you made it this time, amigo.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And I wanted first to give you an opportunity to present yourself to the people that do not know you. Please let us know who are you, what do you do, why are you here, what makes you special.
Sure. So my name is Noel Wurst. Christmas sausage. It's a story tell you anytime if you want to come up and ask me about it. I work with Smart Bear. I am our senior director of content strategy, and so I come to events like this to just hear stories, hear questions from customers. What are people being educated with and by and looking to be educated by? And so Star West is a great place because a lot of really great storytellers get up and tell some very compelling reasons to do this or to stop doing that. Folks have lots of questions about what they need, and so it's awesome to just walk around and hear what are the conversations and to pick up on what those trends are, and then make sure we as vendors especially are not just telling stories that we want to tell, but ones that people actually need to hear that will benefit them, and telling their stories as well. It's not always just about us telling our story. A lot of times those stories are best told by our own customers or other industry experts like Leandro, and incorporating them into like reaching the people we want to reach.
That's really, I mean, you repeated a word several times that I remember, if I'm right. You had a different title not
I
long
did.
ago. What was it?
I was a director of storytelling, which I still think I kind of am. Like it's still, I think I'm gonna have trouble letting go of that because I do love that title.
When I saw it, I think it was on LinkedIn or still on the Twitter days. I'm not calling it a new thing. Um, I saw the title. I'm like, can you have that? I really dig that title. It's really really cool, and really aligned to some of the I don't know. I met Noel at Tricentis Accelerate
Yeah.
ages ago, and I already saw the capacity and the push toward
Mhm.
storytelling and helping people through it. And when we met here last time, it was like a big journey. And I was actually telling my wife, who is a camera lady today, she's helping us, and I was telling her the story, like, yeah, he is the one to blame that I'm here today.
I wasn't aware of that. I was not
Yeah, yeah,
aware.
yeah. That was a super cool story because
Yeah.
he invited
Oh,
me.
that's
Like,
right.
can we do a presentation together? It was pandemic times,
That's
lockdown,
right.
and I was like, sure. Can I bring the special effects and
Yeah.
luchadores and all sorts of crazy things? And then he introduced me to the organizers here, and the rest is history.
That's exactly right. Allison Wade reached out to me, the president of TechWell, and she said, "We need a keynote for an upcoming conference." And we were thinking about Leandro. Do you think he's ready? And I was like, "I think he's probably already given some." And she said, "Really?" And I said, "I think like it's a no brainer. Like it's gonna be unbelievable." And then when Leandro and I met, either right before that talk or afterwards, he was like, "I'd never done a keynote before," and I was like, "There's no way! Like, there's no way!" And he was like, "I'd never done that." Like you told her, He's like, "I've done them before," and I was like, you get it, like you get it so much that you come across like you certainly have." So
Oh,
yeah,
thanks,
that's right.
amigo. Thank you. And on that experience, I mean, it was pandemic times, and it was like the first one was as a virtual keynote
Mhm.
where I did post production, green screen, and all sorts of crazy things that I like to do on those days. Even my cats crashed the recording. I had to keep them on the recording and even make them interact with the presentation. When I finally came in person here,
Mm.
uh, people in the conference were asking about the cats, and they
I'm
knew
sure.
better the cats than myself. And I'm like, okay, those little two are more famous than I am here at
Yep.
the.
Yep.
They are definitely testers of patience and some other things. But amigo, I wanted to also check out what have you been up to on the past few years that we haven't caught up, and uh, what's the deal with your adventures nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, it's all AI. I mean, like, it's like that, not surprising. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's a buzzword, and like, yeah, it's overused. And it's at the same time, it's like, I do think there is like I always call it like a Paul Revere moment of no matter how much of a buzzword it becomes, it's definitely here. It's definitely going to be here even more so. Like, it's just undeniable that it's going to have a bigger impact in all of our lives. We don't know where. We know some places where, but not all of them. And we have the opportunity to not be so caught off guard by it like we were when it first arrived on the scene. And so, a lot of what I think is important to do these days is to make sure that we are not just buying a tool with AI or some sort of LLM and thinking that we're done. Like, it's then figuring out, well, who's using it and what are they using it for? And do they know that there's these other ways they should use it? And how do we even learn what those new ways are? Because every day someone shares something online about, OMG, look what you can do with it now. And it's something that no one knew before. Like, there is no list of here's all that it can do. And so, anytime someone is impressed with something that I've shared that you can do with AI, I make sure to point out that, like, that's only because someone else shared it online first. Like, nothing that I do with it is something that I came up with how to do. It's always something that someone else shared. And had they not, I wouldn't be doing it, and I wouldn't have shared it with all these other people and had this like snowball effect. And so, it's super important that we don't just go, well, we got to have AI. And it's like, sure, that's step one of many, and we don't even know how many steps there are. And so, it's figuring all as much of that out as we can. It's not figuring it all out, because I don't think we will.
You mentioned a lot of cool situations where people came and just figured out something new, some new
Yeah.
amazing thing. Can you reminisce on
Yeah,
one example? Or
my
oh, you
favorite
have okay,
one. Yeah, my
cool,
favorite one
cool.
has nothing to do with testing or work. It was someone shared this, like, again, like, OMG, look at this. And this is probably a year, maybe a year and a half ago. And so they had taken, and now it might not even be like that surprising, but at the time it was shocking. They took a picture of their garage, like their messy garage, and gave it to ChatGPT and said, I need help organizing my garage. I don't even know where to start. Like, what should I do? And the response was, well, the first thing I would do is I would move that lawnmower like out of the back left corner, because you probably need that more often than you need the Christmas decorations. The Christmas decorations would fit in the back. But I also see, and it was like all this like very specific stuff on that photo. And I had a garage that needed to be organized. And I was like, OMG. And I like grabbed my kids and ran outside, and I was like, let's see if this works. And I just did the same prompt he did. And it came back, and it was like, you've got a lot of open boxes. They don't even all look full. So some of your stuff can probably fill up those boxes. The ones that are full, you should close, because you can then stack other boxes on top. You've got laundry. And one of the things was like, your washer and dryer is in the like the foreground of the picture, and I see laundry detergent back in the back. That's a long way to have to go for the laundry detergent. You should probably put that with the washer and dryer. And I was just like, oh my
But
gosh.
did it have that like that pizzazz of saying like it's a long way to the
Yeah.
dryer
Oh,
and
yeah.
that?
It was very, very human speak, very like natural language, as they say. And so I then became obsessed with then taking a photo of everything that needed organizing in my life, which was most things. And it was like a shelf of like board games, and it was like, your larger ones are not going to fit on that top shelf. These 5 games will definitely fit on the bottom shelf, and then you'll have room for your dice and your playing cards on the smaller. And it was just like that, and then my desk, and then I mean, everything I could think of. I was taking all the stuff, and it was like, immediately there's a story of like, can it help us organize our test cases? Can it help us organize our, whatever it is? Like, and again, like, that was a year and a half ago, where now I'm imagining some folks are like, well, duh, I can do that. But a year and a half ago, that was like earth shaking. And so still today, those new things are coming out every day. So do you have things in place at your work where you can evaluate, is that a thing we could do here? What would that enable? Is it worth pursuing? Who would have to come off of what to test that out? How do we then get it in people's hands? What's the ROI? It's like, that's where we need to get. And so the last part of this diatribe is that there's a lot of stories coming out right now about how companies aren't seeing the ROI from their AI investments. And I'm not at all surprised by that, because right now everyone's just on a buying spree to be able to say, we've got it. And then they get it, 6 minutes of its ability. I'm not sure. I'm not trying to blame any vendors, certainly by name at all, but like, I don't know if the vendors even know how to make sure they're using it. if they have things in place to measure where they're using it, where they need to be next month, 6 months down the road. And there's a real risk that a year from now, you're going to have a bunch of people who are evaluating the purchases that they've just made on AI and going, did we get any ROI? And if they didn't, they may not decide to renew. But if they didn't get any ROI, it's probably because they didn't even know where to look for it, where to put all their efforts into things like enablement and training and support. And that's what I think the most important areas are, not what can do the most, but who can get it into the most people's hands and in the most people's heads of where they should and shouldn't be focusing their attention.
This is really impressive because I for sure had the feeling that everybody's like the new toy craze that we gotta have it. Why? I don't know, but we gotta have
Yeah.
it. And it's interesting. One perspective that you are bringing up on, like, yeah, why are you getting it first? Like,
Mhm.
do you really, really know what is going to be the benefit? And on the other hand, okay, you got it. Are you measuring that you're getting a benefit? Or do you even know where to measure,
Right.
what to measure, where to check that?
Yeah.
Okay, you already got it, and maybe you are burning tokens like crazy
Right.
and going through it. Why? For
Yeah.
what?
And speed is the easiest thing to first imagine being able to measure, but most of us weren't measuring how long it took us to do things manually. So even though now we could calculate, like, well, it's taking me this long to write this blog or this long to write this test, you won't, you probably weren't measuring how much it took you. So I'm asked sometimes, like, well, how much faster is it? And I'm like, a lot. And they go, yeah, but like,
How
is it
much is
two?
allowed?
Yeah, 2 times or 4 times? I'm like, oh, I have no idea. Like, I don't. And you can't really ask people, like, go back and do it the really inefficient way and start a stopwatch and time that and then go back and do it the right way. It's like people are kind of already like, that feels wrong. And it is. And so we've got to figure out, well, then what can we measure? Because these tools don't even also offer a lot of ways to measure. So that's got to be something you kind of come up with as well. What's the rate of the output? What's the quality of the output? What can you now do because you're there? I mean, there's just a million different things of like, but wait, if you do it that way, you're going to have to, it's like, there's just, that's the part that like AI makes it seem so easy to get the output out, and it is. But then it's really hard to like figure out, okay, well, how much could you get out of that output? How much could you have gotten out of it? How much can you get out of it next time based on changing that prompt? And then how do you make sure everyone even knows that's the new prompt? And how do you even know that's the best prompt, the one you've just recommended? And in a week, it might not be the best prompt. And how do you get rid of the old one and make sure no one else is still using the old one because here's this better one? It's all stuff that I think it's not that like we're doing it and others aren't. It's we're all trying to figure it out at best. Trying to figure it out is our best, which is like a place that some people don't feel comfortable being.
Especially in corporate environments, in organizations, it's like yeah, the manager wants numbers, percentages, and
Mhm.
things that can be reported upwards. When you mention like what prompt are we using, the right prompt to generate this output?
Mhm.
Is it output really useful? Are you kind of getting like a true benefit? I mean, there are so many elements that I would question.
Mhm.
Because yes, as you say, we all can tell there are benefits, but was the output of your garage organization was truly like groundbreaking? I mean, it helped you a lot. You can
Yeah.
say like, yes, absolutely, I'm sure. How much?
Right.
Was it the was it like a good moment to be working on the garage? Where didn't you have other priorities that you should
True.
maybe? So those outputs, were you utilizing there in the right places as
Mhm.
well, or the right
Right.
outputs? Why are you asking about the garage when, I don't know, your bathroom has a broken pipe?
Yeah,
Or
it's true. Yeah, that's a good point for sure. And then the verifying of the accuracy of the output and of the output, because you can ask it to generate something that you could have generated on your own, and it can just do it way faster, and that's great because you can then read it and verify and go, oh, this is exactly what I wanted. If it's also like, yeah, you can also use it to like create this whole thing in, this other language. And it's like, how do you have any idea how one word of that is correct? Well, you could give it to someone who does know that language. Well, did they have the time to come off of that thing to then review that output for you and tell you all the different places that it wasn't correct? And then you get into that, like, well, how much time did it save if this person had to stop that thing? Well, that thing came out late because they had to stop and work on your request. But like you just said, was my request worth more? It's like it's a fun challenge, but it's sometimes I think it's so unknown, and like that's what most companies really don't want anything to do with is the unknown. It's all about predictability, and there's so little about it that's predictable that it's often passed on as like too risky, simply because we can't predict what's coming. And I think we have to get not just comfortable with that reality, but get used to living in that reality, because I think that's where we're at.
And balancing it and evaluating, when you were talking about a translation into another language. We were lucky enough to go to Japan recently, and we were, of course, using it to translate some of
Mm.
the menus and some of the things. And it struck me that several times we would look in the menu, and a section of the dishes was hormones. And we were like, "What?" And maybe this restaurant wrote it wrong or something.
Right.
I would go to another one, and the translator would still say hormones. I'm like, okay, th- I didn't think of asking like further, or because it was just like a quick picture.
Right.
And then we get to a restaurant that had menus translated, like
Okay.
to make it easier for tourists, and said hormones still. And I'm like, I think it was like a type of chicken, um, in inner parts of the
Oh,
chicken
okay.
that they were selling.
Right.
But we had to ask. There was like a Reddit
Mm.
blog that you had to kind of dig through. If you lack that context
Right.
and you're like, sure, I'm eating hormones,
Right.
will that make me grow breasts or something like that? It's like, what's going on with this? And we're going to be seeing that in
Yeah.
our daily jobs more often and more often.
Yeah.
And I wonder, how are you helping organizations with these type of challenges? Sounds like you are,
I'm more focused on my own internal kind of
your
organization as far,
organization.
yeah,
Yeah,
our
how are you
own. And
helping
so,
them?
yeah, and so it's just like really insisting that we have things set up where we can, share things that you've learned and that you've seen, and making sure that's done like kind of cross functionally. Because it was when
Mm.
I sat in on like an engineering presentation on AI that I even learned that you can measure it in some of the ways that they were measuring it. And I was like, you can do that? And like, I knew none of us were doing that. So had I only stuck to like, but that's going to be an engineering use case. We're in marketing. Like, I would not have learned that. So like opening up channels for sharing. Well, we've already hit a roadblock there where you can say all day, anyone's welcome to get up. Most people won't. Like most people assume that what they're doing with it is not at the level of it. I'm the same way. Like the stuff I know how to do with it, I'm like, I know there's people here doing better things. So I'm not going to stand up first because my thing might be kind of like meek or like embarrassing. And so
But
not
that might be also some sort of imposter syndrome.
possibly, but that could be it also. But again, like another thing to be aware of that exists. And so like not just opening it up to volunteers, but like requiring it in a way that is not forced and feels like painful, but like requiring it and like rewarding the sharing, and then
Mm.
being able to show how someone else applied it and things like that. So we're opening up like lines for sharing what you've learned, bringing in external folks to share what they've learned, because we won't figure it all out on our own. And then measuring like what's the output of that, making sure that our governance is still really strong, but also really responsive when someone has a question about, can we have this use case here? Is this okay to use? Not asking that in a Slack channel where someone didn't even know that's where the question was being. It's like, it's so much to figure out, but it just keeps paying off to keep going. It's all important. And so we will cross each thing off kind of one at a time. So making sure people again like have there was a it was called the law of uneven, or not was, it's called the law of uneven AI distribution, and it's the Marketing AI Institute that put this out, and it's a great like credo. And it is that the level of ROI that you will get out of an investment in AI is tied to three things. It is the level of access you have to technologies. You have to be able to have access to them.
Leverage it.
It is the understanding of how to use them, and it is the acceptance that it is the better way. Now, that doesn't mean it's always going to be the better way because
It's
it's
a
AI.
dogma. Yeah,
It's just the like, I can't do it. I won't use it. That's AI. That's going to be wrong. It's like, you've got to get past that hurdle and help others do the same. You can't just have access to the tool and an acceptance that they're really powerful, but not know how to use them.
yeah.
You can't just have access to the tool and understand how to use them, but not believe that you should be using them. It's like you have to have all three. And so that's a good point to start, I think, from, to going like, well, our folks know how powerful they are and they're all on board, but we're not allowed to use them.
Hmm.
Like you take away any one of those three and don't
It
bother.
doesn't work.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
bother. So like that's a good place to start. And you can start kind of bucketing things into, well, for us to even think about enablement, first we got to give people access. We shouldn't be trying to win people over on the power of AI for tools we're not even allowed to use.
Hmm.
We can't just go, you got your tools, like you had access, why didn't you know how to use them? It's like, because I don't know,
There
no
were
one taught me how to
tools.
use them. Like, so that's a good place to start. It's very like enabling people to get more out of them, is making sure they've got all three of those things.
Really, really interesting. And you're also opening up my mind. Like, ways in which to measure and to think about
Mhm.
around it and in the organization, where I don't know, this is all so new and I think so relevant. It's like making a difference. We were wondering like this AI, is it gonna be another new buzzword that in a year one
Mhm.
hit wonder thing that may is here to stay in a big way and it's
Yeah.
impacting everything and always keep being surprised like, oh yeah, you're right, those new measurements, these new things
Yeah.
that we haven't thought about.
I've
it's
started I've
it's
started to wince at something that I used to do now when I hear it, and it's that, well, it'll never be able to do X. Because I was my like AI story is that like when I first saw it, I was like, oh no, like this, as a writer, like this could really threaten what I do. And I gave it this really terrible prompt that I didn't know was a terrible prompt. And it was like, write me a blog about whatever. And the blog came out and it was terrible. And I was
hmm
like, woof, at least it can't write as good as I
garbage in,
can.
garbage out.
Yeah, I was like, at least it can't write as good as I can. And I had no idea that it could with like a better prompt. And then I saw it and was like, ooh. And then they were digital. I mean, they were like designers that were like, well, at least it can't make images because we saw all the bad images online and we openly mocked them. And then all of a sudden they were really good. And it was like, well, at least it can't do video. And there was like the Will Smith eating spaghetti meme, like that thing. And it was like horrifying. And it was like, well, at least it can't do
Nightmare
video. It
material.
definitely can do video. And so it's like, well, at least it costs. It's like everything we've said it can't. At least it'll never be able to
At the
do stuff.
moment it couldn't, it's breaking those
Yeah, and
records.
so that happens and again, that's part of the acceptance one of like it doesn't mean you have to believe it can do it today, but to just completely close yourself off and not prepare yourself for the day that it potentially can, and I would say maybe even probably can. That's a bad choice.
It was a big slam on the face here at a conference with a presenter, Jason Arbon,
Mm,
who said like, you gotta stop discussing and arguing if or it cannot, it will be able to, it will get stupidly good.
mhm,
Start thinking about how to deal with those
right,
levels. How are we going to be
right,
working with it getting exponentially better and better
yeah,
by the second? How's your work going to be different? How everything's going to be changing, and all the things that are coming.
yeah,
But we're going to start to wrap up a little
yep.
bit. I wanted to switch gears. Speaking of changes, and I wanted to find out why did we found you here? What changed and why you showed up after a few years? And are we gonna be seeing you at the Star
Oh, I hope
conferences?
so. Yeah, I absolutely hope so. I mean, I live in Florida, and so like this is a hike for me as far as California, but the Star East is in Orlando, which is right
hmm
down the road. So that's a great one to get to start going to as well. Just I mean, for this one, it was actually someone who couldn't make it and was like, "Can you go instead?" And I was like, "Well, of course I can." And
We
yeah, and now that I'm back, it's kind of like I gotta be at the show. Like it's just it really is the best. I got to host the passport game last night, and I was
yeah.
I was telling folks like, bring your colleagues for sure. Like every time we get to talk to a group of people or even just half of them and they're like, oh my gosh, like what you're talking about isn't my area, but it's my boss's and he's here, or it's my boss's and she's here, or it's my colleague and she's over there. Like they would bring others back because even just that ability to like instantly relay the conversation right there and not go, okay, I'm going to go home on Friday and then on Monday I'm going to put together all my notes and then on next Friday that's our open sharing and I'll share what I learned and then book another. It's like it's too
Oh
late. Like it's
wow.
like if you even remember what you took in here in a week, you're very lucky. And so to be able to bring more people here and to like instantly start thinking and ideating together is huge. So yeah, we had a lot of folks here this year, and I'm glad we did because we made so many plans that by next week, if we tried to do it again, like what were we saying last Tuesday we had to do? Like lost cause. So
Most
yeah.
of the time, I'm glad that I have it on camera or
Oh, that's a
recorded.
great. Yeah, it's
Otherwise,
true.
it's like,
Yeah, that's
oh my
brilliant.
god, there was so much.
Right.
I was talking to my wife who's helping again, and she's like, "Yeah, that happened just yesterday, the day
Right.
before, was before 3 days."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Welcome to the conference
Yeah.
week
Right.
adventure.
Yeah.
This
Exactly.
is where
Yeah.
everything is so much, it's so
Yeah.
not overwhelming, but in a good way. It's
Yeah.
so much good information that you're like, what?" And
Yeah.
you're drained. It's a huge adventure, but I'm happy to hear that you're gonna be trying to
Oh
kind of
yeah, for sure.
get back
Absolutely.
around. I hope that we are going to repeat this type of
Yeah.
interviews and catch up on what are the new things that AI is blowing your mind at.
Right. Yeah. It'll be time. We'll be due for sure.
Yeah, or this interview will be AI generated, and we will be wearing chicken
Yeah.
costumes,
Right.
everybody, or
Yeah.
something
It'll never
ridiculous.
be. It'll never be able to replicate you and me, Leandro. Never.
uh, they have to be with chicken costumes, but the real deal thing, and to look
Yeah.
exactly as,
Yep.
I don't know.
One day.
Yeah, that's the creepy part. But we look forward to seeing what's the future gonna bring.
Yep.
And speaking of that, now to wrap up for real, if people want to get in touch with you, follow up with what you're doing, or just write and say hi, where can they find you?
It's harder and harder. I'm like becoming more and more of a recluse just because of the number of channels. I mean, LinkedIn works when I remember to check it. Email's pretty easy to figure out. Uh, Slacks are good for now until they become too many. That kind of. It's like I'm around. I'm not too hard to find.
Reach out. I think the easiest and best, he has said it, not the fastest responding, but I'm the same. I'm the
Yeah,
same. Sometimes the message will sit there for days and I didn't open it, but always responded. And well, if you want to reach out, add our amigo Noel. I think here down the screen, his name is displayed. Ask him about the Christmas sausage story,
yeah, for sure.
and you'll get a great
Yeah.
experience on languages and things. Amigo, no,
Thank you so much,
it's
Leandro.
always a pleasure.
Yes,
It's always a
always.
blast, and I love your level of storytelling.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's
I
really, really
like yours
great.
as well.
No, no, you rock, you rock. And there you have it. This was the surprise interview that was hinting at the whole day. Wink, wink, and so many winks that it looked like I had a tick the whole day. So, our special guest, a mi amigo Noel Wurst, and habla español también, poquito.
Un poco, yeah, un poco.
Muy bien. Okay, so stay tuned because we're about to start in a couple of minutes, actually, the last stream of the conference, where we are going to wrap up, reminisce of all these days, the parts that we can remember, and see everybody go back to their homes, places, and get ready to enjoy the park, Disney, or just rest because it's a lot.
For sure.
So stay tuned. We're going to be back in a few minutes. And for now, Leandro out, Noel out. Adios. Adios,
Adios.
everybody.